I'm Marty Nemko. For those of you who don't know, I'm a career and personal coach, and my most frequent client is, frankly, highly successful people in mid-career, but they're overwhelmed, especially if they're either self-employed or they've got family. And some of them are losing some of their drive. They may have feared they've topped out even at a high level, but they've always tried to keep moving upward, or they've been told by their HR departments or whatever that they're privileged and they feel that they've really worked and earned most of their privilege, but it's very dispiriting. They've come to see the limitations of trappings, fancy car, fancy house, competing with their neighbors or their peers to get a Rolex or whatever. So they're wondering of what the hell it all means. And then, I just yesterday had a client, and successfully we crafted a strategy, and he got an extra $25,000 raise. But then we looked at after taxes, it's only $2,000 a month. It's not trivial, but it wasn't going to change his lifestyle at all, because $2,000 a month after taxes, when you're making a good income, he will keep less than half of it. And I'm not just talking, he's very well aware of not just the taxes that are very obvious, like income tax and sales tax. There are all these hidden taxes that end up meaning that he's got less money to live life. There's increased limits on Social Security. It used to be only paid up to $145,000. Now, no matter what your income or much higher, you're going to pay tax on it. When the price of gas goes up, not only does the price go up, but because gas tax in some states is a percentage, he ends up paying more in taxes, and not just for gas. In California, where many of my clients are, there are these bond issues that come on the ballot, and every time you vote for a bond, people don't realize, but your taxes go up to pay for the interest on those bonds. So, he's working harder, longer, he thinks smarter, more ethically, more successfully, and it usually is a he, it's sometimes a she. And he's just like a hamster in a wheel trying to just keep up. He's hit up ever more for charity, and the pitches are ever more sophisticated. There are these focus groups that help determine what is the right kind of pitches that work in ads, commercials. But then if you're already a donor, let's say you've donated money to a charity, a significant amount, the charity assigns a prospect researcher to identify your hot buttons. So you get ever more sophisticated pitches. For example, if you were, and I believe this is I think one of the worst charities to donate to universities in general, you get assigned a prospect researcher who researches you and then gives a dossier to a pitcher who's going to pitch you to give more money, and that pitcher is usually an alumnus, so it doesn't seem like a professional fundraiser. They're very sophisticated. So in addition to the little money that you're getting after taxes, you're getting hit up. And now my clients are scared. They were always counting on their home values, but now home values are declining. The stock market is declining. Yet they still feel they've got to save for college for their kids. And the cost of college, even though it's very often the value added of college is less and less, the price goes up and up beyond inflation. Or they're thinking, if my clients are closer to 50, they're thinking about retirement. And, saving enough for retirement. They say you need millions of dollars saved for retirement. Well, my clients, even those that are doing very well, don't have millions of dollars saved in retirement. They're scared. Am I going to outlive my retirement, so the commercials go? They're worried about their kid. How much should they push their kid? Is the economy going to continue to be tough? So their kid has to get into Harvard or Yale or whatever, but the kid is overwhelmed with stress. How hard should the parent push? So in short, my clients are very often, they don't suffer all these, but much of it, and they're overwhelmed. And so these are some of the things that we discuss, and there really are almost no limits. The most extreme thing we discuss is chucking it all. So do you really need, is this worth it? I had a client who actually ended up choosing to go to a monastery and just chuck it all, sell all his worldly possessions, divorced his wife, went to a monastery, and is happier being a monk. But obviously he doesn't, I've had a client who went off the grid. and just live very simply in a tent or straw bale house or whatever the hell it was, or living very simply in a basement crummy apartment or an apartment in a terrible neighborhood and living very modestly, no car, crappy clothes, and just living simply doing what he or she wants as, to make a little bit of money, whether it be being a sign distributor in store windows or a barista or a writer or whatever, and just saying, I'm chucking it all, the hell with all this. More of my clients will choose to simplify, so they might cancel their country club membership, or instead of buying a new car every 5 years, keep it for, keep their Lexus until it dies 300,000 miles later. Fortunately, Lexus are amazing cars. They will stop buying fancy clothes, and they got enough, or fancy jewelry, or needing to go to Davos or fancy places, and instead do a little driving vacation to the nearest beach or mountain cabin or whatever. They stop competing with the Joneses. They compete with themselves more, and not driving. A lot of my clients are deciding to compete with themselves to get a little better in little things. A little better at their job, maybe a little better at public speaking, and so they might take a little public speaking course, or I'll coach them in public speaking, or simply a course in investments if they find that fun, or a course, something crafty. Frankly, my female clients are more likely to do that. Join a knitting circle or something like that, or a crafty, some kind of craft quilting circle or whatever. They might take up male or female, take up photography, because you don't have to be very artistically talented to make pretty damn good photos. And then, really, I think probably even more, my clients are more likely to focus on and this frankly is my idea, to create ongoing sources of pleasure that aren't going to be so expensive and therefore add more to stress. That doesn't mean like a vacation, which is going to cost you a lot, and then in 2 weeks you're back, or a weekend you're back with ever more to do that you have to catch up with. It might be, for example, to buy your first Kindle and read on the Kindle, which is a pleasure. You can read anywhere. Join a sports league, softball league, basketball league, male or female. It gives you something to look forward to, and it's exciting, and camaraderie, and friendly competition. Develop a creative hobby, like I said, whether it be art or music or photography. Simply getting a more comfortable chair to work at it in your home office or whatever. That's something you're going to use every day. And maybe you don't have the ideal chair. Take the time to find one that really fits your body long term, not just sit in the chair for 3 minutes to test it out, but an hour in that chair and seeing if that really makes you more comfortable in your current chair. Maybe having a weekly friend night or date night with your partner, where you get together with one friend, or maybe it is that poker or bridge night or whatever. Maybe get addicted to it, and not maybe. These are all things, I made a list of these, of things that my clients have each of my clients have all done one or more of these. Not all. Many of my clients have done one or more of these. They got addicted to a TV show, binge watched it, or a video game, whether it be from Wordle, like one of my clients, to Warcraft. They got into gardening. They did something in their workshop, home improvement project. They were going to build shelves or whatever, and they're always doing some kind of a project. They get into their grandkids, and they make a point of, if they're local, visiting them all the time, or if they're remote, FaceTiming or Zooming with them and visiting, as often as possible. Those are ongoing. Those aren't one-time things. Those tend to be ongoing sources of pleasure, which can take some of the sense of overwhelm. You notice there's no magic answers here. Most people are not going to chuck it all. But hopefully in this buffet of suggestions, there is something that if you are feeling overwhelmed, and you don't have to be super successful like most of my clients, even if you're, a kind of, let's call it an entry worker or a blue-collar worker or whatever you want to call it, you still could easily be overwhelmed because you additionally have even more financial pressures. Believe me, I understand. So, but hopefully most of these suggestions are not expensive. So, taking that photography course, or, simplifying and not spending much on clothes, or getting a Kindle. You can get a Kindle for, I think, $69. Joining a recreational sports league is next to nothing. A craft group, should cost next to nothing. a little more comfortable chair. You know, the Chinese knockoffs for under $200, there's dozens of very interesting, comfortable. I have one. I used to have actually an Aeron chair that cost me $700. I ended up trading in. I like this. I have a really nice ergonomic chair that cost me $169. I tried a bunch of them, and I'm much happier. I spend a lot of time in this chair, I promise you, clients and writing and doing these videos. You know, getting together with friends once a week, having a date night with your partner once a week, going, it doesn't be a fancy place, just going out for coffee or for an inexpensive ethnic restaurant, local hole in the wall. Getting addicted to a TV show or a video game. Cheap, doing a little gardening. These are not expensive. You don't need to be rich to do any of this stuff. Spending more time with your kids or grandkids. So, in any case, maybe it just helps to know you're not alone, that the middle class is really being hit upon, blamed for everything. They say the rich, but the focus is, there's not enough money among the rich to provide all the redistribution that our government wants. So it's the middle class that gets hit up and blamed as being privileged and guilt-tripped into giving more voluntarily or by taxes. And I can say with great certitude that my clients work hard, ethically, are productive members of society. Not all, but quite most of them. And they are overwhelmed. And nobody seems to give a crap about them. I do. In any event, I thank you for watching. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And my latest book is called Jeremy's Quests, Succeeding and Starting Out. Particularly good for young adults just either finishing college or graduate school or having dropped out of those or whatever. But there's enough that's useful, I think, that even older people could use it. But mainly it's great for young adults starting out. In any event, it's available on Amazon. I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.